Space Marines are the greatest of the Emperor of Mankind's warriors, who stand as a bulwark against a galaxy of horrors. Yet, formidable as they may be on their own, the strength of these superhuman Astartes lies in their combined arms. From the defensively equipped Devastator squads to the offensively equipped assault squads, the mixed doctrine tactical squads, and beyond, theirs is a force best understood as a whole. Thus, in this series we shall bring to life the entirety of a Codex-compliant Space Marine chapter with its Scout, Reserve, and Battle companies, in addition to its vehicle pool, support staff, and command structure. We shall do so with none other than the Primarch Roboute Guilliman's finest. This is the true size of the Ultramarine Chapter.
With thousands of Space Marine groups active across the galaxy, it's hard to keep them all organized into Codex-compliant chapters. But I'm sure Imperial administrators, and yourself, could do a better job managing such complex systems with the help of today's sponsor, Odoo. It's an all-in-one software for managing organizations in an integrated way. As with other ERP tools, this means empowering you with a range of applications to simplify the day-to-day management of a business, including invoicing, accounting, project management, inventory, website creation, and more. With over 15 million users worldwide, Odoo is a well-established company with tens of thousands of specific apps to meet different company needs. Let's say, for instance, you want to build a website. There's an app for that, to quickly set things up. Customize the look and feel with themes, fonts, animations, and more. If you need to sign documents, there's an app for uploading, viewing, signing, and revising these files. If you need to manage timesheets, there's an app to track and validate billable hours, approve time spent on tasks, and simplify invoicing your services. If you need to manage workflows, there's an app to organize projects with stakeholders, tasks, due dates, dependencies, and statuses. The list goes on, and best of all, the whole ecosystem can be linked together on Odoo. So try it out today. The first app you get actually comes for free and comes with unlimited hosting and support. From there, you can access all applications starting at under $25 a month. Enjoy!
The Imperium of Man spans much of the known galaxy. As such, its military is of an equally enormous size, and its scope defies the grasp of human minds. Yet at its core lies a bastion of order in the form of the 1,000 Space Marine chapters. In days past, such chapters were part of sprawling legions capable of fielding hundreds of thousands of Space Marines alongside their associated Imperial Army, fleet, and logistical elements. However, while these formidable institutions were critical in the wars of the Great Crusade, their incredible power proved dangerously concentrated during the bloody civil war of the Horus Heresy in the early 31st millennium. Thus it was that in the aftermath of this conflict, the Ultramarines Primarch, Roboute Guilliman, split the remaining 9 loyalist Space Marine legions into roughly 1,000 chapters of 1,000 Marines, in what came to be known as the Second Founding. The restructuring of these troops was formalized in the sacred tome of the Codex Astartes. Written by Roboute Guilliman himself, this exhaustive treatise laid out his ideal for the order of battle, tactical doctrine, and moral behavior of a Space Marine chapter. Its guidance proved key to the evolution of these new units. Yet, while it has been adopted to one extent or another by the vast majority of chapters, full, unwavering conformity proved impossible. In the 10 millennia since its inception and the death of Guilliman, the Codex Astartes has been added to by many other writers, and several competing versions have emerged. Yet, the core tenets of the Codex have stood the test of time. With this in mind, we can now describe the general organization of a Codex-compliant chapter of the 41st millennium. Generally speaking, a Codex-compliant chapter has around 1,000 Space Marines led by a chapter master. Each chapter is in turn divided into 10 companies of 100 Marines, each led by a captain and a pair of lieutenants. These leaders are accompanied by a command squad of hand-picked veterans and an HQ unit of at least one of the following: a chaplain, a librarian, a tech marine, and an apothecary. Each company is then further subdivided into roughly 10 squads of 10 Marines, each led by a sergeant. The companies are traditionally ranked in seniority from the 1st to the 10th, and often have their own particular roles to play in the chapter's function and culture. They are mainly designated by the appearance of their shoulder trim, with each company having its own unique color. The most traditionally defined roles are as follows. The 10th Company, designated the Scout Company, is where the chapter's neophytes are first inducted and learn to become Space Marines. The 9th to 6th Companies are designated as Reserve Companies, their duties being to hone the skills of aspiring Space Marines in different facets of war and to provide support and replacements for the 5th through 2nd Companies. These so-called battle companies are combined arms elements who form the bulk of a chapter's strike forces. Lastly, the 1st Company is designated the Veteran Company, which consists of the chapter's most experienced warriors. Attached to this force of roughly 1,000 Marines are a host of support personnel, vehicles, and starships. Together, they operate as a completely autonomous military unit whose headquarters may be located on a planet or moon-based fortress monastery, or on a massive flagship for fleet-based chapters. From here, they will exert control over their local area of space whilst serving as a small but critical elite force which can be deployed across the galaxy. They do so under the sole direction of their chapter master, who answers to no one except his fellow chapter masters, the High Lords of Terror, and the Emperor of Mankind himself. With this broad understanding, let us now delve into the greater specifics of a Space Marine chapter's organization. In this regard, we will do best to study the Ultramarines, progeny of the Primarch Roboutier Guilliman himself, who adhere most faithfully to his Codex Astartes. More specifically, we will be discussing the Ultramarines around the time of year 999 of M41, just prior to the fall of Cadia and the eruption of the Great Rift. We shall begin with the ascension of a new recruit as he prepares to undertake the long and arduous journey through the ranks of the Brotherhood. In many cases, chapters may seek to draw their manpower from worlds with harsh environments and cultures which pre-select applicants with desirable traits. There are, however, exceptions to this rule. In the case of the Ultramarines, they maintain several prestigious academies across the realm of Ultramar, dedicated to the training and education of youths, from whence candidates are then drawn. Such recruits will be mortal boys who must now undergo the harsh trials of an aspirant. Those who pass either an exposure trial or the less common challenge trial may now be deemed worthy of starting their training in the chapter proper and are inducted into its ranks as a neophyte. However, this is but the beginning of their toils, and many will not survive the grueling tests which follow. Yet, those who do are granted the honor of finally becoming a true Space Marine. This transformation is a literal one, which involves a neophyte being implanted with their chapter's first set of 19 unique gene seed organs. Such carefully maintained marvels of genetic engineering will grant the recipient a range of superhuman abilities. Yet the process is a trial unto itself, with many being crippled or killed in the attempt. Survivors who finally emerge from the medical chambers will now do so as battle brothers, ready to begin their service to the chapter. Here they will join as a scout in the 10th Company, the Scions of Ultramar, under the command of Captain Antilochus. The entirety of the 10th is composed of scout squads. However, owing to its role as a training unit for the chapter, a scout company has no fixed number of squads attached to it. Thus, while its brethren may be expected to call upon 100 Marines per company, a scout company may field many times this number. They specialize in reconnaissance, infiltration, and sabotage. Scouts have received the same augmentations as their full-fledged battle brothers, but have yet to earn the right to wear power armor, instead wearing lighter carapace armor, more suited to their intended role. A standard scout squad consists of 4 to 9 such individuals led by a sergeant. Squads may be armed in a variety of ways, based on their intended roles. For instance, a sniper scout squad will be composed of 3 men with sniper rifles, a 4th man with a missile launcher, heavy bolter or autocannon, and a sergeant armed with bolt pistol as well as a chainsword as a sign of their rank. Tactical scout squads, meanwhile, will trade out the 3 sniper rifles for bolters, while an assault squad will use shotguns, bolt pistols, combat knives, and grenades. Thus armed, young Space Marines will begin to familiarize themselves with the basic arsenal of their chapter. Scouts are also trained to operate light bikes and may ride these nimble vehicles on recon and disruption missions once they have gained sufficient experience. Scouts may also be deployed on the Storm-type land speeder to improve the squad's mobility and provided with additional fire support in their often far-ranging operations. While it may be tempting to look down upon this most novice of companies, the 10th has its own proud history and traditions. The Scions of Ultramar have produced some of the most renowned infiltration experts and marksmen among the Adeptus Astartes. Indeed, many of the most veteran men of a company may spend years embedded in this unit as a means to train up its youngest neophytes. Once a Marine has earned sufficient experience as a scout, he will finally be implanted with his black carapace, which serves as a neural control interface that enables the full use of power armor. Thus equipped, he can now begin his journey through the ranks of the reserve companies. This starts with the 9th Company, the Stormbringers, led by Captain Sinon. It is a dedicated heavy support company composed of 10 Devastator squads. Of all the companies, they are the most defensive in doctrine, as shall be made clear by their armament. Each Devastator squad consists of a sergeant and up to 9 Marines. 4 are designated as heavy weapon specialists, with the rest acting as support. While the latter carries the typical bolter, pistol, and grenade, the former brings to bear a far heavier arsenal, which includes heavy bolters, las cannons, plasma cannons, multi-melters, missile launchers, and grav cannons. The squad sergeant is given additional heavy weapons training, making him an expert in the use and coordination of these mighty armaments. Sergeants will not, however, carry a heavy weapon themselves, and instead are equipped with their usual chainsword and some form of ranged weapon. Such Devastator squads may act as generalists who deploy a range of weaponry to meet any foe, or may act as specialists with gear designed to counter a particular enemy type, such as heavy armor or massed hordes. Thus, in the words of the Primarch Robute Guilliman, quote, "A Devastator's reach shall be without limit, and his touch without mercy. Fire shall roar from his fingertips, but it shall consume him not. Thunder will roar when he calls, yet it will swallow him not. Wherever he stands, That shall be his fortress of righteousness. These Devastators will be further reinforced by their vehicles. A prime example is the Centurion-class warsuit, which has only recently been seeing more widespread adoption. This exoskeleton fits over a Marine's armor, further protecting them with ceramite plates and granting him the ability to wield even more formidable weaponry. Centurion pilots are often drawn from the most veteran of the chapter's Devastator squads, and from there may be deployed alongside the 9th, depending on the situation. Like all of the following companies, the 9th also maintains a force of transports ranging from the small, nimble land speeders to the large, plodding Rhino and Razorback APCs. Additionally, the 9th may count on the support of Dreadnought combat walkers and Whirlwind artillery tanks. These and the rest of a company's vehicle needs will be drawn from the chapter armory, which we shall discuss later. After serving in the 9th and proving themselves capable of holding their ground against any foe, a Marine will next move to the 8th Company, where they shall learn the art of the offense. Within the Ultramarines chapter, they bear the title the Honor Blades and are led by Captain Joris Numitor. It is composed of 10 assault squads, the primary close combat and assault specialists of the Ultramarines. Each assault squad consists of a sergeant and up to 9 Marines, who will usually be equipped with jump packs to greatly enhance their mobility and allow for devastating aerial attacks. Assault Marines are primarily armed with a combination of bolt pistol, chainsword, and frag or crack grenades. 1 or 2 Marines may be assigned a flamer to improve the squad's close-range firepower. Sergeants, meanwhile, are permitted a greater variety of war gear owing to their superior rank. In addition, they are bolstered by an upgraded comms package to allow them to operate efficiently whilst well ahead of the main army. Such assault squads are among the most mobile of Space Marine units, being used for a variety of roles including reconnaissance in force, decapitation strikes, and counter-assault missions. Their fearsome reputation precedes them, as was the intent of Roboutier Guilliman, who declared of the Assault Marine, quote, "He shall descend upon the perfidious foe as an angel of judgment from on high. Let the jump pack be his wings, and the roar of its engines a hymn of retribution. Let the chainsword be his scepter of decree, its harsh voice singing joyfully with each and every blow. With it shall the Assault Marine bring bloody retribution to the heretic, the traitor, and all alien aggressors who trespass on the Emperor's domain." The company's mobility is further enhanced by a vehicle pool, which includes a larger than usual number of bikes and land speeders and is supported by its own air force of Storm Talon gunships. In terms of heavy armor, the 8th has access to the typical complement of walkers, transports, artillery, and tanks, and may call upon such assets from the armory as needed. Now, having proven their merit in defense among the Devastator squads of the 9th and in offense among the assault squads of the 8th, a Marine will advance to the 7th Company, where the two doctrines shall be merged. For the Ultramarines, this occurs in the ranks of the Defenders of Caesarion, who are led by Captain Gerard Ixion. They are composed of 10 tactical squads, the masters of combined arms warfare, who have long formed the backbone of Space Marine strike forces for over 10 millennia. Consisting of a sergeant and up to 9 Marines, these are highly adaptable units designed to operate effectively against numerous types of opponents. As such, the majority of the squad is equipped with a bolt gun, bolt pistol, combat blade, and grenades. For improved firepower and flexibility, 2 of its members may be equipped in the manner of Devastators with special weaponry such as flamers, melter guns, plasma guns, and grav guns. As usual, sergeants have access to a wide variety of different war gear, such as combi weapons and powered close combat weapons, although they often go into battle armed with a bolt pistol and chainsword. Yet, as the Primarch Roboutier Guilliman reminds us, quote, "But these are mere tools. A tactical marine's true weapons are his courage, his wits, and his dedication to his brothers. He will bring his foe to battle in a manner and time of his choosing, never himself caught unready or ill-prepared for the task at hand. In defense, he shall be stalwart as the mountain, a bulwark, stood firm against the enemies of man. In attack, he shall strike with the wrath of the immortal Emperor, felling the foe without mercy, remorse, or fear." In terms of vehicle support, this company can call upon the usual complement of dreadnoughts, transports, and tanks. But for even greater flexible deployment, the 7th also maintains a permanent pool of land speeders, as dictated by the Codex, providing the chapter with a ready force of specialists in these nimble combat skimmers. Battle brothers who continue to prove themselves will now make their way into the 6th Company. Within the Ultramarines, this last unit of the reserve companies is known as the Brethren of the Forge and is led by the famously aggressive Captain Maximus Epithus. The 6th is in many ways a mirror of the 7th, in that it also consists of 10 tactical squads. However, its members are more experienced and leverage these skills for a doctrine of armoured spearhead assaults. As such, they make great use of APCs to rapidly manoeuvre its infantry, while being supported by dreadnoughts, battle tanks, mobile artillery, and gunships requisitioned from the armory. Such is the extensive mechanized training of the brothers who serve in the 6th, that their ranks will be called upon to provide an honor guard to watch over the chapter armory within the fortress of Hera, and many such men will go on to become future tech marines. Should a space marine survive their long and bloody journey through the scout and reserve companies, a service which will take years if not decades to achieve, he will finally be granted the honor of advancing to the battle companies. In part 1 of this series, we covered the junior half of a Codex-compliant Space Marine chapter from the period of the 41st millennium. Now we shall advance our studies to their veteran battle brothers who make up the senior elements of the 5th through 1st companies. In doing so, we will gain a better appreciation for their true capabilities in war. From the ability of a single Marine to bolster the morale of a faltering colonial defense force, to the ability of a well-equipped strike force to eliminate threats across the galaxy, or to join with larger Imperial forces for full-on campaigns. This is the true size of the Ultramarine Chapter in action. By the dictates of the Codex Astartes, a Space Marine chapter of the Second Founding is composed of 10 companies, each with roughly 10 squads of 10 Marines, for a total of approximately 1,000 warriors. New recruits wishing to join their ranks must first pass through the 10th Scout Company, where they will be introduced to the basic arsenal and operations of the Space Marines. In the 9th, they master the art of the defense among the Devastator squads, and in the 8th, they master the art of offense among the assault squads. These skills are then brought into balance among the tactical squads of the 7th and 6th Companies. Only having proven themselves will a Marine stand a chance of advancing onto the ranks of the battle companies. Such units typically act as the chapter's primary frontline force, which will be actively deployed among the various war zones of the Imperium. As a result, the battle companies are organized with a mixed force of squads and vehicles to meet the needs of a given campaign, whilst calling upon the reserve companies for replacements or reinforcements as needed. For a better understanding of their role, let's now take a closer look at some examples from the Ultramarine Chapter. Here is the assembled might of the 5th Company, the Wardens of the Eastern Fringe, who are led by Captain Cato Galenus. Its makeup is typical of the battle companies, featuring 6 tactical squads, 2 Devastator squads, and 2 assault squads. As their name implies, the Wardens of the Eastern Fringe are among the most far-travelling of their brethren, being deployed for years or decades away from Ultramar on various campaigns. It is on these missions that a Marine will learn to fight alongside a wide variety of Imperial forces and run the gauntlet of mankind's most bitter enemies. In addition to providing crucial training, these distant crusades also serve an important strategic and propagandic role for the chapter. Strategically, the 5th provides an important tool of force projection. Often referred to as the Gladius Strike Force template, their operations will see them break out into smaller groups to parry incoming attacks and deal quick, efficient blows capable of neutralizing foes many times their size. In terms of propaganda, the distant nature of these campaigns also serves to inspire the realms of the Imperium with a reminder that no planet is beyond the reach of the Emperor's angels. Even the presence of a single Marine may be enough to shore up the morale of an entire colonial defense force, as is evidenced by the following record of the Guardsman. Quote, "I have seen a thing today which I knew only from the storybooks of my childhood. Oh, so mighty and so broad and so bold that it might have been a statue on the colonnade of the Emperor come to life. Its armor glowed like the moon, gunmetal bright, and it smelled of sweet oils and sacred lotions. In its fist, 5 times the size of my fist, it clenched a spear twice the length of my body. I think we will live if these gods are with us." In keeping with the strike force nature of the 5th Company, it may bring with it a larger vehicle pool capable of extended deployment, with supporting starships for transportation and orbital strikes. Next comes the 4th Company, known to the Ultramarines as the Defenders of Ultramar. They are led by the recently promoted Captain Uriel Ventress and are composed of the same squad mix as the 5th Company. But whereas their brethren may see active deployment at the far reaches of the galaxy, the Defenders of Ultramar remain embroiled on the front lines closer to home. While the 4th has been known to protect its borders with glorious offensives, many of their forces take the defensive as commanders of auxiliary garrisons, as castellans of major fortifications, and as specialist operators of key military infrastructure. They do so against the endless waves of foes which threaten Macragge and its domains. From tyrannid swarms to orc warbands, heretic cults, and endless horrors from beyond. As such, the 4th Company vehicle pool makes excellent use of mass fire support and heavy armor to pulverize all those who approach their strongholds. Transports and gunships in turn allow these otherwise slow-moving assets to quickly relocate for a dynamic defense. Thus has the heartland of the Ultramarines been preserved for hundreds of years. But while the 5th and 4th Companies may cover battlefields near and far, the 3rd Company focuses on a very specific part of the warfighting spectrum, as is evidenced by their name, the Scourge of the Xenos. Led by Captain Mikhail Fabian, whose hatred of aliens has reached notorious levels even by Imperial standards, their squads have gained a special reputation for combating the myriad Xenos threats which infest the galaxy. Much of this skill has been honed against the Tyranids dating back to their first brutal conflict with Hive Fleet Behemoth in the First Tyrannic War. As such, the Third Company has developed a great expertise in short-ranged firefights, which leverage flamer and melter weaponry in order to purge Xenos hives, fortifications, and space hulks. It should be no surprise, then, that many members of the Third have been recruited into the dedicated anti-Xenos chapter of the Death Watch. Those who return alive to the Ultramarines are honored with the rank of Tyrannic War Veteran. In terms of vehicles, the Third will use a range of craft which have been further specialized to counter a particular alien race. Whether this means more firepower, more armor, or more mobility depends on the situation at hand. The last and most prestigious of the chapter's battle companies is the Second Company. Within the Ultramarines, these Guardians of the Temple are sworn defenders of the holy inner sanctum of their fortress monastery. Led by the legendary Captain Cato Sicarius, their squads have gained an impressive reputation for lightning strikes meant to win the battle before an enemy has even had the chance to respond. To the uninformed, their risky battlefield heroics may appear suicidal. But to the astute observer, they display a masterful exploitation of a Space Marine's transhuman physiology and advanced war gear to their fullest. Yet, in this pursuit of this perfection in combat and an unquestionable dedication to the Emperor, their bravado has, on multiple occasions, crossed the line into perceived recklessness and thus drawn censure from Chapter Command. The vehicles used by the Second Company match their preferred tactics, with an emphasis on mobility and hard-hitting firepower. In such matters, the Thunderhawk makes for an excellent armed transport ship, capable of dropping dozens of Marines and heavy payloads such as tanks or dreadnoughts into the heat of the battle. Now finally, having spent many decades if not centuries honing their skills across countless battlefields and distinguishing themselves before their fellow battle brothers, it will be a Marine's ultimate honor to join the vaunted ranks of the First Company. Here, each man stands as a legend in his own right, with a service history easily mistaken for that of an entire unit. Among the Ultramarines, these are the Warriors of Ultramar, led by First Captain Severus Agamon. Their composition is made up entirely of veteran squads. Yet, unlike the rest of the chapter's squads, these troops are not limited to specific gear sets. Rather, they are granted access to the entirety of a chapter's armory, including advanced equipment and relic war gear. Each Marine thus customizes his loadout as he sees fit, resulting in an incredible flexibility of these veteran squads. Nonetheless, we may still group such troops into three broad types. The first of these are the Stern Guard veteran squads. Composed of 9 Marines and a sergeant, these are warriors who tend to favor ranged combat. As such, they are generally equipped with the portable bolt gun, whose performance has been significantly upgraded with superior optics and loaded with special issue ammunition, such as the unstable flux core Vengeance rounds, capable of penetrating the most heavily armored of targets. Stern Guard veterans also favor various master-crafted combi weapons, which merge the best characteristics of more standard-issue weapons. In contrast, Vanguard veterans are masters of close-quarters combat, who often go into battle wearing jump packs. Their up to 10-man squads may use the bolt pistol and chainsword pairing, favored by their assault squad brethren. However, these veterans often leverage even more deadly power weapons such as lightning claws, thunder hammers, and relic blades. For defense, Many will also equip storm shields, capable of withstanding the most brutal of melee and ranged attacks, up to and including direct artillery hits. With such survivability and killing power, there is virtually no stopping such Marines once they have reached your ranks. The third type of veteran squad is the Terminator Squad. Its up to 10 squad members are those who have been granted the honor of wearing tactical dreadnought armor, a right reserved for the men of the First Company. Such marvels of Imperial technology turn the wearer into a walking tank capable of effortlessly bringing to bear some of the heaviest weapons of the chapter's arsenal, including assault cannons, cyclone missile launchers, storm bolters, and heavy flamers. In close quarters, chain fists, lightning claws, and various other power weapons may also be used. The incredible durability of Terminator armor not only makes the wearer invulnerable to most incoming firepower, but also allows them to sustain the pressures of teleportation. Terminators can thus be equipped with personal teleporter packs to execute devastating pinpoint deep strikes. Altogether, this presents a condensed package of unimaginably deadly potential. The First Company's vehicle pool is also fittingly unique. While all vessels are in theory available to the Veteran Company, they are granted near monopoly on the use of land raiders. These super-heavy infantry fighting vehicles are capable of transporting large squads of Marines and Terminators while unleashing torrents of firepower from its side-mounted twin-linked las cannons and hull-mounted twin-linked heavy bolters. Taken together, the might of the First Company is a wonder to behold, especially when fighting side by side with the rest of its chapter. Having thus covered the different companies and squad types of a Space Marine chapter, let us now finally turn to how its leadership is structured. Traditionally, a Codex-compliant chapter is led by a chapter master, chosen from the ranks of the company captains. He is protected by an elite honor guard and advised by a council of senior officers and confidants. The current Ultramarines chapter master is Marnius Calgar, whose distinguished service has made him one of the most respected Astartes in the Imperium. Beneath the chapter master, High Command is further divided into 4 categories: the Apothecarian, the Librarius, the Reclusium, the chapter armory, and the Master of the Fleet. Let us now examine each of these in order. The Apothecarian is chiefly responsible for preserving a chapter's vital stocks of gene seed, ensuring the creation of future Space Marines. The apothecaries, meanwhile, also act as medical experts for the Astartes. The current Ultramarines' chief apothecary is Corpus Helix, a distinguished warrior and medicus known for his supreme patience and attention to detail. The Librarius upholds the chapter's repository of knowledge and is where its battle psychers, thus known as librarians, are trained. The Ultramarines' chief librarian is Varro Tigurius, who has gained high renown for both his impressive psychic abilities and deep wisdom. The Reclusium is the center of the chapter's cult and spiritual well-being, whose chaplains serve as battle priests that inspire the men with words and actions. The High Chaplain of the Ultramarines is Ortan Cassius, who is famed for his efforts in combating the Tyranids and founding the Society of Tyrannic War Veterans. The chapter armory is responsible for the maintenance of a chapter's military equipment. It is here that heavy armor, war suits, and vehicles reside, which will be diligently cared for by skilled tech marines who have been inducted into the cult Mechanicus. The current master of the Forge of the Ultramarines is Fenius Maxim, known for his unceasing efforts in the Tyrannic Wars, and whose expertise in Astartes weapons and technology has made his name synonymous with the chapter armory. And finally, there is the Master of the Fleet in charge of the chapter's space assets. This admiral will typically be one of the chapter's captains, who has been selected by the chapter master to command the flagship and lead the fleet. Uriel Ventress holds this honor for the Ultramarines, bearing the title of Master of the Fleet. Last, but certainly not least, a chapter is supported by the unseen ranks of its mortal servants, who tend to the everyday needs of operating and maintaining a Space Marine force. These include the chapter's hereditary slaves, bonded serfs, servitors, astropaths, navigators, and more. However, ascertaining the number of such non-combatants is unfortunately quite difficult given their non-standardized nature. Roughly speaking, a typical Codex-compliant chapter like the Ultramarines may, on average, rely upon several thousand non-Astartes support personnel. If the crew of the chapter's fleet is included, the number can easily rise to the tens of thousands. Once we then account for the wider network of auxiliary forces and other support personnel, our accounting must reach into the hundreds of thousands. But for now, this is where we shall end our review of a typical Codex-compliant Space Marine chapter of the 41st millennium. I hope you found this video both educational and entertaining. You can download all of our art, catch script previews, and participate in polls by joining our Patreon or YouTube membership. A huge thanks to our current members for supporting the channel, and a big shout out to the researchers, writers, and artists for making this episode possible. We couldn't have done it without this team and this community. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content, and check out these other related episodes. See you in the next one.